1 out of 5 American is actually ready for retirement. You have to set yourself up to be successful in your retirement or in your later years.
Said I will be magnificent, I will be better than I ever been. Yeah, I will amaze me. True to myself, they can't change me.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Build a Better Business with the Floyds. We are super excited to be here. And of course, we are the Floyds. We are so excited about today. We have a wonderful episode or conversation we're going to have where we're going to talk about ways that you can be able to build retirement income as a business owner. So, I actually was doing some research on this, okay? And so it's a true statistic that says 1 out of 5 American is actually ready for retirement. So that means that the majority of folks is not prepared for retirement. And so granted, I don't know if you ever took the time to look around. I know I have. If you look just within your own family, sometimes you might see or notice, that your grandparents may still be working or, they're on a fixed income where they still need some sort of financial support. And or you may see, like, I remember I was in Walmart the other day and I saw a lady, I think she was 90 years old, and she was greeting at the door, still working. It could have been, I don't know her situation. Her situation could have been she just wanted to stay active and be doing something. But in most cases, when you see things like that, a lot of times it's because they still need to make some income to kind of supplement the fixed income.
I use me, for example, did 21 years military, and you would think 21 years, you get a retirement check, you're ready to retire.
Yeah.
But I wasn't in a position that I had to that I could retire, so therefore I had to go back to work. So you have a lot of military people that do 20 years in the military. You're getting a constant check for 20 years. You're getting raises every 3 to 4 years, and after 20 years, you still got to continue to work because you haven't planned for retirement.
Right. And so in addition to that, that's something that he had to learn, or we had to learn, period, is that, you have to set yourself up to be successful in your retirement or in your later years. And so that's why we want to have this conversation today, because we do realize that this is a really important area that hopefully that we can say something that can have an impact for you, and that this doesn't be the case of you, that you be in the 1 out of 5, or we can shift that number where it's not so high. So, just to kind of get into it, like you mentioned, you retired from the military, and that's I think whenever you can retire from a job and be able to collect a pension, because nowadays pensions are they're non-existent.
Yeah, some jobs you had to do like 30, 40 years just to get that pension. Mm-hmm. So you pretty much, 1 foot in the grave, when you come off the job.
So they require, some jobs give a pension, but when you're a business owner, you are 100% responsible for your retirement. So, you want to make sure that you are being proactive and doing what you need to do that. That's why it's important to have a profitable business, build that business so you can be able to make income, so that you can also be able to take care of your future. So let's kind of jump into it. 5 ways to build retirement income as a business owner. The first way to do that is you want to start something that is called a solo 401k.
Okay, let's go.
We were talking about that, a solo 401k. So solo 401k, the reason why we would say this is because, let's say that you're a new business, you don't have any employees, and it's just you. A lot of times that's how it starts. Solo 401k is more beneficial for you because it allows you to put away a good amount of money into the account. And you don't have to have any employees, or really to be eligible for this account, you can't have any employees. So when you're solo, the only person, you're the owner and the business and the employee, you can be able to start this account. And this account allows you to put up to, how much was it? It was
23,000.
23,000 for 2024. So this year, 23,000 is the max that you can be able to put into that account. Now, the cool thing about a solo 401k is that you're actually able to do contributions as the employee and as the employer. And so, for example, as the employee, you can put in 23,000 as the employee. That's the max. But then you can actually change hats. And now you're the employer, and you can be able to make another contribution, up to that 23,000 or up to 25% of your net profits from your business. So that is super important, because you can put away a lot of money if it's just you. But now the cool thing, and you were talking about this, if you're married.
Yeah, if you're
right?
married, then you can pretty much double that.
You definitely can.
So it's just different, revenues are different things you can do to meet that goal. If it's just me by myself, I can put away that 46,000, by being an employee and employer. Or if I'm married, my wife can do the same thing. So whenever it's time to retire, she don't have to be dipping into my retirement. She can have her own retirement.
That is right. That is right. And in addition to that, you also can start an IRA as well. And so that's another way you can put money away for your retirement. So IRA, we didn't lead with that because an IRA has limits on how much you can put. It's very small, only like $7,000 a year if you're under 50. But it's still a nice addition. You can have that $7,000, and then you can have your 401k, which you can be able to put another 23,000, and then you can put another 20 something thousand into this account, or more, depends on what your profits are. But you can be able to put away probably about 50,000 at a minimum a year into this account. And that is some super nice savings, especially if you're trying to make sure that you're putting enough money away to have a stream of retirement.
Yep. And then if it's a Roth account, which we prefer, when you pull that money out, it'll be already tax free.
Right. So you want to be aware of that, because there's two kinds of 401ks and IRAs. They have one that's called a traditional, another one is called Roth. Traditional is when you're putting money in before it is taxed. The reason why you don't want to do it that way is because this money has never been taxed. And so that money will grow and compound on you. And then when you get older and want to pull it out, you got to pay taxes on that money. But Roth is with after tax dollars, meaning the money you made, you've already paid your taxes on it, and now you're contributing to it. And so now this money is 100% tax free.
So if I'm 23 years old and I got $10,000, I'd rather pay taxes on that $10,000 versus getting, 75 years old. Now I got 120,000 or
hopefully $1 million.
Yeah, hopefully $1 million.
1.1.
So my point is, I don't want to pay tax. I would rather pay taxes on the 10,000 versus the $1 million.
Right, that's correct.
Yeah.
And so you want to make sure you start out strong. And it's a saying, I think, you guys used to say in the military, it's called backwards planning.
Yeah.
Where you want to, when you start in your business in the early years of your business, you want to make sure you're thinking down the road, and you have a plan. Whether you're not, usually in the beginning of your business, you're not profitable like right out the gate. It takes time to build that up, but at least you have a plan and you know what you want to do and where you're going down the road. I also recommend, in my opinion, and not just because, I'm a financial advisor, but I do believe that it's value in talking to a financial professional, someone who can help you put together that plan and then give you the guidance you need so you can be able to be, what your targets are and what you need to hit, your timelines and things like that, so you can be more strategic. That's my opinion. But otherwise, that's something you can absolutely do.
Yeah, because I use an example whenever you became a financial advisor. I was putting away for a long time, about 10 years, and, got married, to a financial advisor. And she showed me some different things to do with my money. And long story short, when I retired from the military, I had 6 figures. But if I would have stayed in my other account, which, without the financial advisor, I probably would have been at like 25, 30,000.
Yeah.
So it's a benefit.
It is a benefit. And, because I will use, for example, a lot of times you may not know how to allocate your funds. You want to make sure that not only you're contributing to a solo 401k account or a 401k period, you want to make sure that that money is working for you at the maximum capacity. And a lot of times, if you don't know what that looks like, then you could actually have your allocations growing too conservatively. And if that is the case, then you're not maximizing. Like, it could be an opportunity of thousands and tens of thousands, or hundreds of thousands missed because your accounts wasn't allocated properly in the right funds. So,
And I use, for example, on our portfolio, one of my accounts, my old accounts, it was out of every quarter I would make like $6,000. And out of that $6,000, my conservative account only made me $3.25 out of $6,000. And that's what I was doing for years, like 10 years. But then once I got it set up in the right thing, I was like, I'm gonna keep this here just to see what it do, just to make sure I'm not making a mistake. And when I seen the $6,000 and $3.25, it was a no-brainer from that point.
yeah, no brainer. So that is the first way you can be able to put away streams of income for yourself. Another way that they can be able to put money aside is your favorite.
Yeah, that's my favorite, rental income.
Yeah, rental income.
Yeah, real estate rental income.
Yeah.
And the reason that's my favorite because you can pretty much, I use us, we bought our first house for $99,500. $99,500. That house is worth over $200,000 right now. So it's made 100% increase. It's grown in value. But in the meantime, let's say if I want to make $3,000 a month and I rent that place out and I get a couple of properties, let's say I get 3 properties and I make $1,000 a month from each one. That's pretty much $3,000 because your goal as, working, you want to be able to replace your income and not work for it.
Right.
So pretty much those rental incomes were pretty much making the income that I would have been making as if I was working. And then those rental incomes constantly go up in value over the years with real estate. So now I got all of this equity and pretty much my house is worth this amount. And then I'm still making my income that I was making as if I was in the military still.
Right. That's a great way to have another stream of income. And so I would always suggest, the wisest thing to do in regards to if you're going to invest in like real estate and if you want to go the rental property route and be able to build that stream of income out where that money's coming in. I would say to start with having a plan of paying off the properties. So, and pay them off early. So of course you don't want to do 30 years. It depends on your timeline, but maybe, come up with a plan where you can have it paid off in 15 years or even in 10 years. It really is not that difficult to pay off property within 7 to 10 years. A lot of times folks don't know that they can do that, but that really just comes with having a strategic plan and implementing and executing it. And it's not too much of a strain on you financially to do that. A little bit goes a long way against that interest on a mortgage. So,
and I use the example when me and Shavonna first got married. My plan was for Shavonna to make $30,000 a year. But imagine $30,000 a year doesn't seem like a lot, right? So imagine if she makes the $30,000 a year and $30,000 a year went towards your mortgage. Because the statistics say you can look on your mortgage statement. Whenever you buy a house and you pay on it the traditional 30 years, you're actually buying a bank house and you're buying your house. So you're pretty much paying double for what your loan amount is for. But if you took $30,000 a year, let's say if I had a $100,000 house, that $99,500 house, and she took $30,000 a year and put it towards that house, that's 3 years, right? Three years, that house is paid for.
That's the power of working together, though.
Yes.
So we've always had, because, we come from, when we first got married, we were very humble beginnings, very humble. And that's what he said. All he wanted me to do is just make $30,000 a year because at that time we were young, early 20s. And, he was in the military. He was a young...
I was E5.
He was a young sergeant. And then I came into the marriage with a whole lot of, bills of my own, that he assumed responsibility for. See, I have a man. That's a good man. But the point here is that, as we grew and kind of adjusted, our financial plan together, what we realized is that, hey, he decided he will take care of all of the bills and, make sure everything's paid. And then whatever income I made, and he gave me a goal of at least 30,000, and that can go towards, extra things. And so it's very helpful if you are married, if you're not, you still can be able to do it, just comes with planning. But that was kind of a plan that approach that we did, to be able to pay off things. You can pay off a mortgage. You can pay off a lot of things if you use the extra income wisely. But if it's just you, for example, you still can do it as well. It's just a matter of sitting down, looking at your budget, looking at your finances, and finding out where's the extras. Because I've learned that a lot of times people have a lot of extra money going towards things that they may not even realize. You may spend a little too much on eating out or all kinds of things.
And you'd be surprised where the extras come from. I use, for example, when our little one was, still in Pampers, we spent a lot of money on Pampers, milk, daycare. But then once they graduated from Pampers, that was a savings every single month. And then when they graduated from daycare and actually went to school, that was a savings every single month. And then if you're on a job and you're not getting a raise every single year, you're on the wrong job. So it's just different ways that you're going to get extra, but that don't mean you increase your lifestyle. You had to take that extra, be humble for a little bit, take that extra and invest it the right way.
All right. Yep. You absolutely do. So rental property or real estate, it's a great way to create yourself another stream of income. And I'll use an example, like we have a friend, I'm not going to say too much of her story, but, she invested in like 17 properties, right? And, I asked her, I remember, just asking her a simple question. I said, hey, so what's your retirement plan? She's like, these rental properties, because they're yielding her enough income on a monthly basis where she doesn't have to work anymore for the rest of her life. So, but that came with a plan. She had a plan. She knew what she wanted and she executed the plan. And now, she's not even that old. She's probably like in her 40s, I would assume.
It took 15 years to pay off all of those properties.
Yeah. And so she's still quite young. She's in her 40s and now she wants to stop working. She absolutely can because she set herself up to be in that position. So that's the same thing that you can be able to do if you have a plan and make sure that you're putting away in certain vehicles to create those streams of income. So, all right. So the third way to be able to create a stream of income is by establishing something that's called a defined benefit plan. So this one's a little bit different. You don't hear this one too often, but as a business owner, this is something you can absolutely do. So what a defined benefit plan is where you're essentially setting aside into this plan, or you putting funds into this plan where you are guaranteed, or I won't say guaranteed, but you're in a sense putting away some money for retirement from your business for you. So it's going into this plan for you, for the benefit of you, so you can be able to have a guaranteed fixed stream of income in retirement. So this is something that has to be created through your business. And so, I was discussing this, we were talking about this earlier, like some examples to kind of where you can kind of understand, like and my husband always like to use the military.
I can relate.
The military. But what were you saying?
Yeah, pretty much the military, you do 20 years and you get a retirement. Some jobs you have to do 30 years, but the military, you get 50% of your base pay. So, let's say if I'm making 6,000 a month, now I'm guaranteed 3,000 a month for the rest of my life. So that's, 20 years for 3,000 a month. There's some better options out there. But
it's nice. It's a stream of income.
It's 3,000 a month as long as I got a pulse. So it wasn't at the time I didn't have anything. I was working at McDonald's, arguing over a 12-cent raise every 3 months. So 3,000 a month, for the rest of my life, that's not bad.
Right. So that's really nice actually, because that's a good, guaranteed, but it's something similar to that. When you think about a defined benefit plan, it's something like that where the company, the organization is putting away funds for you, and it is assuring you a stream of income for the rest of your life. That's something that you can set up to your business. And when you set that up, now that gives you some security. You know exactly what your target is. So I would assume you would need to get with, the right professional to help you create that account, so you can be able to, or that plan rather, so you can be able to create that stream of income, leveraging your business to put that together for yourself.
So pretty much I took my military money, invested into real estate, and then that real estate invested into, 401ks, and pretty much all of it together is going to make me another retirement beside my $3,000 a month. So you pretty much just adding everything together. You got the $3,000 a month from the military, $3,000 a month from the real estate, and the real estate is steady going up in value. And then you have a 401k plan that you can put into, or if you got a solo 401k, then you can max out that also.
Yeah. And then the real estate, the cool thing about the real estate, we're on another one, but the cool thing about the real estate is that you can build that stream of income to be as big as you want. He's using that as an example, but it can be as big as you want.
Yeah.
If you want 5 figures a month, if you want 6 figures a month, like you can really do that with real estate. On the defined benefit plan, this is going to have a lot to do with the profits that your business is making, because you're literally using profits and you are funding this plan for your retirement. So that means you have to create yourself a profitable business so you can be able to create that retirement for yourself.
And pretty much what we do, we pretty much invest in real estate every time we move. So when I say $3,000, it's just $3,000 on one rental income, not all of them.
So now let's kind of move into the next. So we kind of went over 3. We went over the solo 401k. We talked about rental. And then as well, we talked about the defined benefit. But the 4th way, and this is actually, I think this is something that is slept on, because it's one of my favorites, because, you don't got to do anything but just let the money grow, and it's going to pay you for the rest of your life. And that is called an annuity. So the 4th way you can be able to build a stream of income for yourself is through an annuity. So in my opinion, I feel like it's 2 ways you can start an annuity. It's basically what an annuity is. It is an insurance-based product. Okay. And so I like to make sure you understand that, because usually with insurance, they're traditionally more conservative, and they have some guarantees of safety on them where you have some protection on your money. But with an annuity, you have 2 options. You have a fixed annuity, and you have one that's called a variable annuity. In my opinion, I would say look at a fixed annuity, okay? Just to make sure you can predict what you're going to get. Variable means you want it to continue to grow in the market, but then your payments, will be also could change each time. And so if you have a fixed, you know exactly how much you're going to get, during that accumulation phase. And once you annuitize it, you know what to expect. So now an annuity is basically, it's an account that, of course, you have to get with a financial professional of some sort to be able to help you put this plan together. Now, if you already have money that you can put a lump sum in, that's even better, because, you can compound that lump sum, and you can come up with a target of how a timeline, and then you can know exactly upfront how much income stream you're going to generate from that. And whatever that income stream that you're going to generate is guaranteed, fixed for life. So let's say, for example, you have, your $7,000 is what, you have targeted, you know exactly. That $7,000 is going to pay you you can expect this a month, every single month, for the rest of your life. Even if this is the coolest thing about an annuity, even if you deplete the funds that you put into that account, they're still going to continue to pay you until you die. That is the coolest thing about that account.
That's winning right there.
Yeah, that's the coolest thing. So like, let's say, for example, you put $500,000 into the account, right? You put $500,000 over the years. That's how much you have put in there, and that account has grown and compounded, right? And so let's say that when you look at 7,000, for example, 7,000 a month, that's like about 80 something, 84,000, I believe. That's 84,000 a year. Well, you got to think about it. 84,000 a year times 10 years, that's over 800, 900, that's almost $1 million. It's a little under, but it's almost $1 million in 10 years. Well, you only put 500,000 into the account. So, and then plus whatever interest accrue, you have probably already have depleted that account or close to it in the first 10 years. But the way an annuity works is it's going to continue to pay you, even if you live for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, however long you live, they'll still continue to pay you guaranteed. And then another cool thing about it is if you pass away prematurely, as you just started collecting them, but you haven't collected all the money, you can name a beneficiary and they can be able to inherit whatever is remaining in the account that you did not use if you did not deplete it. So I think annuity is amazing. I think people don't really sleep on that account, because that's a wonderful way to create yourself a stream of income.
You know why people sleep on that account?
Why?
Because they want to do it themselves. They're like, I'm going to do my own retirement. I'm going to put my money under a shoebox. And they don't have the right tools to set up an annuity.
Well, sometimes, that is the case. But so I would simply say, and use a combination of these. You can use all of them if you like, that we're sharing with you today. But the main thing is, as long as you start something, because if you, as an entrepreneur, business owner, if you don't start taking advantage of these vehicles to be able to set yourself up, time is still moving. And, and the way this work is time means everything when it comes to growing your money and compounding it. Even, on whichever approach you take, time matters. Yeah. So, yeah. And so I think we have just one more. Yeah. What we'll share. I know this is something that makes you excited. It makes me excited too. So the fifth way that you can be able to create a stream of income for yourself in retirement, or I don't even know if this would be considered a stream of income. This is just like getting income. This is just like getting the big bag, getting it all up.
You can string it out as long as you want.
Okay, so what is the fifth one? This is one his.
The fifth one is pretty much selling your business. Yeah. And when you sell your business, it has to be profitable. I use, for example, Mark Cuban, right? Yep. Mark Cuban sold the Mavericks for $3.5 billion.
$billion.
So he bought it in 2000 and sold it 24 years later. Yep. And he sold it for $3.5 billion. Yep. So imagine 3.5 billion, and he's only like 66 years old. Mm-hmm. So you can take 3.5 billion divided by 50 years. Let's say he live another 50 years. He lived to 115 or something.
106. Yeah.
That's pretty much $70 million a year that he would have to spend that $3.5 billion. Right. Now to take, a successful business and sell it, that's a good move right there. Right. He don't have to work anymore. He can sit back and, kick his feet up. And he still has all that $70 million that he can spend every single year and still not deplete his money that he has.
Yeah. I when you were telling me those numbers earlier, I was thinking myself, I don't even know if I know, this is something I would have to stretch a little bit, because I don't even know if I know how to spend $70 million a year. Like, I don't even know, what can you buy? I mean, like, maybe in the beginning I could see, you buying investing in some major real estate.
Yeah, big house.
But pool. I think after a while, just like, you just start running out of ideas. Like, what else can I do? That's
I can't buy a house. I already bought that.
Yeah, that's
can't buy the Rolls Royce. I already got 10 of those.
Yeah, you gotta be investing in some major things. But you can, the cool thing, so for your business, this is something that you want to think about, from the beginning. What type of business are you going to create? Obviously, you want to create a profitable business. That is the first objective. But you also want to think about what level you want to create this business to be. Is it going to be a multi-million-dollar business? Is it going to be $100 million, company? Is it going to be $1 billion company? Like, how big are you going to grow this to? Because wherever you grow this to is going to make it more valuable. And if you're at a point that you decide, hey, I would love to sell my business and just retire. Well, if you got a business, $100 million business, or whatever, $50 million business, or whatever you have, now you can be able to sell it at top value. So let's just use it for example. So let's say that you have a business that is, you've grown it. It took you time, but it's a $50 million business or a company, right? Someone offers to buy it and they say, listen, I will buy your business. Well, obviously they can't come with 50 million because it's already a 50 million business. It yields that already. They can't say 100 million because, that's just 2 years. Yeah. So now, the offer is going to be big. You want to think about how many years out, do you want this to the payout to be. So you say, listen, I'll take 50 million, times 30, and so that's how you're going to get into the hundreds of millions of dollars, or maybe even 1 billion. You can say, listen, I feel like, this is a $50 million. It's going to make 50 million, right? So, the offer has to be at least a billion, for you to even entertain the thought of selling this business, because you want to make sure that it's enough for the rest of your life, the rest of your children's life, your grandchildren's life. You want to think about it like that.
Yeah.
I was talking about the gentleman too from BET. I think he was the original owner of BET. That gentleman, I don't know his name, but I think he sold BET for $30 million. BET is worth a whole lot more now today, but he sold it for $30 million. And I would just assume that he just was probably done, ready to retire, whatever the case may be. That's your choice. When you own something, when you build something and it is valuable and an asset, you can sell it for whatever you want. And that could be your retirement fund for yourself.
And I use the house that we bought, our first house we bought for $99,000. We can sell that house for like $250 now. And that's 10 years later. And, I know what Mark Cuban would do, with his $3.5 billion.
What?
So what he would do is start a show, Shark Tank, and he would invest into other people's businesses just to take a portion of it.
I know, right? Yeah, he can do that because he got money on top of money. He can do whatever
so
he
it's
wants,
not his money; it's making money from other people's money.
That's right. Yep, but those are the 5 ways that you can be able to build retirement. So what I will recommend for you to do is, I hope you took some good notes on this, wrote them down. And then now what you want to do as business owner, start thinking about which avenues are going to be the best fit for you and which ones you want to start taking advantage of right away to start making sure you're putting those dollars away. Because at the end of the day, I know by the time you reach 60, you may not want to continue to do this anymore. It may be even younger. It's up to you. But you may not want to continue. You might want to go into a new phase of life. We're always evolving. So I hope that this information is helpful.
Yeah, and we shared a lot with you all. So again, like I always say, listen, learn it, and apply it.
That's right. So thank you again for listening to another episode of Build a Better Business with the Floyds. It was our pleasure. Until next time, we'll talk to you soon.
I will be. Yeah, I was born to be magnificent, everyday great, far above average, maverick, no magic. His faith and works, his blessings.